behalf of the Raza Foundation, we welcome you this evening to our second Habib Tanvir Memorial Lecture. As some of you know quite well that the Raza Foundation last year started a series of 7 memorial annual lectures. They are in the memory of V.S. Gaitonde, Kumar Gandhar, Habib Tanvir, Daya Krishna, Agge, Mani Kaul, and Kelucharan Mahapatra. We have had the first one, Habib Tanvir Memorial Lecture, delivered last year by Sadanand Menon when he talked about theatre of violence. And this time we have NAVJYOTI Singh, who is going to talk about ontology of Natya. As you can see from that description, he's in a Center for Exact Humanities, whatever that means, in the International Institute of Information Technology, Hyderabad. Our attempt in Raza Foundation is to draw intellectual capital from wherever it is lodged for the moment, and to create a kind of what Ramchandra Gandhi would have called a moving circus of intellect, which is that you bring the intellect for a while and let people benefit from its insights and wisdom. So there you are, and we are very grateful to NAVJYOTI Singh, who has come all the way from Hyderabad. Although I learned that he has a house here, so which is nice, and his son and his wife are also here. But there you are. You would like to go there, no? Right. Go ahead. Allow it, and should someone in the audience that towards the end of after the end of the lecture, we can invite the audience to. As you can see, we have a very niche select audience. But each one of them, through each one of them, you're speaking to about 100 persons.
When I got this invite, I was a bit surprised. For one thing, I had not known much about Habib Tanvir, and it was quite it required real courage to accept this. And but I did come to learn, though there is no intimate relation with Habib Tanvir, but I did come to learn a whole lot of things about him in recent weeks, and found some kind of at the same page somewhere, and at different pages at other places, of the impression I have of Habib Tanvir. One thing which really struck me was I just happened to see Charandas Chowk 2 days ago, and was all of a sudden the place where I live, Telangana, now Andhra, has similar what he did for from Chhattisgarh, this NATYA tradition. There are people who also embody what we can see as Natya Shastra in some other formation. And so what I'm going to show you is a little bit of clip of Telugu Charandas Chowk, and it's done by people from this region, Chhattisgarh, upper part of Telangana, which is and also of touching Odisha, Dandakaranya region. This Dandakaranya region has many such traditions, and they really embody various formations which we can see coming out of Natya Shastra directly. And I also happened to read some interviews of Habib Tanvir, and some of the points he made struck me. Though one was that very inclusive kind of the way theatre is enacted in these traditions. There is inclusion, very inclusive kind of initiation of a drama is there. All the participants which are to conduct drama are in situ in the drama, not in situ also on the stage actually. And then I noticed, and he also said somewhere, that there is some kind of seamless contiguity from one episode to another episode, from one role to another role in the same person, and there's a seamless contiguity which is involved. And other thing he compared was that a play which is done with improvisation, much like Indian music, you could have plays which go on for 6 hours and in a night, which could be done in say 1 hour. Also, it can go on. A lot of improvisations in situ when the play is being enacted. Other thing which struck me, I'm just touching these points before I really go on to what I actually do, is a point he made that in a theatre you have one actor who can serially enact several roles and conduct almost the entire play. You have 2 actors. With 2 actors you can get dialogue going and the richness can come up. The 3rd actor is difficult to control because it will take the play away from its the integrity which a play has, and it will tend to take away. So if you can handle 3rd actor, you can handle 30 actors in the play, or you can handle 33,000 actors in the play, if you can handle 3rd actor in that. So that something struck me. I think it's very important notice he made. And then another point is that the stage has lots of mobility and plasticity. Instead of stage, Rasik going to the stage or Manch, is the stage which can go to the Rasik. And this kind of mobility one finds in the types of plays which get enacted in this region. And we actually have a project looking into art production in Telangana region. And so one can relate with that. So I looked at his, he also made a point that how is it, this tradition, the Natya which he was familiar with, and he did experiment with that, Chhattisgarh, all his life. And to show that there can be seamless contiguity in playing, many innovative things he showed. And one point he made was that how this is different from the Greek drama. 2, how is it different from the traditions of drama which you see now in modern Europe. And so that these points which I've sort of tried to note down there, 4 or 5 of them, are related to those notices which are there. I mean, there is like a permanent architecturally sort of constructed stage is something which we don't find in Dandakarana region at least. Maybe it's found somewhere in Odisha, they say, Puri, there is a cave where there is a cave, there is a such a formation. But in Greek world we do find, in Dionysus tradition, there is, and you find things like curtains in modern plays in Europe, because the Vastu itself is of a stage, is something very different from the Vastu you see in, at least in the Dandakarana region, the way plays are enacted out. So this difference of the malleability of the stage, remoldability of the stage, is something which made, for him, he took it also in the direction of street plays and outside, as a protest, outside the elite theatre kind of culture. I'll show some clips from a Telugu version of Charandas Chor. I'll make some point, then we go on to what I've titled as ontological issues which I involve. And Charandas Chor is a very interesting play because it raises a very fundamental issue of truthfulness. And it starts by raising, it's a very philosophically significant play, and it begins this is how the play begins. Light is a new phenomena. Light is electromagnetism is a new phenomena for much of India, and in the first act itself. And musicians, rather than being like outside the stage, etc., they're part of the stage, and the people now are all the people who are going to elect it out. They are coming into the stage, and so it's like just preparing for the beginning of the play. Almost looks like part of the play, and in the Natyas, this is a very familiar kind of thing, and this singing is about truth, to speak truth, and that's how the play really begins. And there is this thief who sort of is a very obedient kind of thief, because it's Charandas. He's really and most of it is very humorous, and in the end he's sort of incessant thief in the sense, but somebody who's liked by audience a lot, and so this is how all the actors, everybody get introduced, and then this is what I am sort of looking at, this 1, 2, 3 issue there. His point about 1 through 3 was the 3 is equivalent to 33,000. If there are 2 actors, 2 nayaks, or there are many other people who would support him. Support him if there is something being acted. There are many other actors who would express what classically is called Sanchari Bhav. Just a moment. I'll show one more of the Sanchari Bhav thing. That probably this clip illustrates better. There are other people sitting. They are all supporting what is going on there. As a central axis of the play, whatever is going on, the rest of people are supporting it. And this rest of the people is a third character, is like this 33,000 people or characters. Unfortunately, the camera isn't showing everything. The other side also, they're supporting. if two people are talking, these people sitting around them, they are like adding to the main motion of the play. Like last time, if you see this from here, just replaying that. These two people seem to be accentuating or expressing in Natya Shastra. You have Bhav, Vibhav, etc., Anubhavs, and then you have Vicharis, Sancharis. He has abstracted Sanchari Bhav out. So if the main Bhav is going, if Vibhav is, it means that if there is an actor, when you enter a stage, you must have some other character, maybe absent, not physically there, but somebody there on the stage so that you can act. You act in an environment, that environment is Vibhav, etc. And then all kind of minor things go around with it. So these two people, and there are around 8-10 of them, they are in a sense support. I've done some clips of this kind. The third point was, which I raised, improvisation. It's there somewhat in it because these two people are going to react differently, totally differently. When the repeating act, sort of the improvisations, this is get repeated. I'll get back to improvisation clips. This last was different, and let's get back to. This is a so policeman comes looking for a thief, and in this clip there are two types of improvisations which go, and which are almost like the way one sings music in classical or Indian or otherwise traditions. This is a thief who is trying to hide from him. The thief has got had an eye on the thief now, so he's sort of hidden in some way. The danger is over now. So because this is missing, so it's suspicious. There was a beautiful, which I didn't have, 4-hand clap in this. In this thing, earlier 4 hands were clapping together, and but there was, this is like in a, and maybe 3-4 ways it can be done, not just in a play, one particular production or play, only one way it is done. It could be done in 3, 4, 5 ways, this hiding from this. So these are the kind of improvisations which were there, and the mobility and plasticity of the stage, just to have a look at that, another clip from the same play. There's a thief who's going to rob a very conjuice rich man, and there's a gate of his, since there is no curtain in the front, the structure behind is used to create his house, and sometimes used to create his village, sometimes it's used to create gathering, and many ways it's very plastic, entire the way these structures will be used in it. So those are all robbers robbing him off, and these people are enticing this rich man. Okay, yeah, this is the last portion of it. You know, Chandas, can you get light? Yeah, I think there is an interest in this. Right? Yeah. Hey, death itself in the end, and he's sort of given a death sentence by the queen, because there are certain vows he had taken. One of them was to speak truth, not to marry a queen was on the vow, and which was taken in a jocular way by him, and so he was condemned to death. But by dying, he became somewhat immortal, because we remember him today, like now we are remembering him, the playwrights remembering him. He sort of achieved immortality. So even robbed Yamraj of killing him, and that's how the play ends there. So I'm going to pick from here. There is one more notice which I want to bring, which Habib Tanvir used to say, and this is sort of many people who look at traditional theatre, they look, see this. There is a play, Machkatikam, which where a judge says, go look for Vasant Sena's body. I mean, she has been killed in a garden to somebody. What that somebody does is just goes around a stage, very worried, just goes around stage, and just comes back and says, yeah, she's dead. Doesn't even look, doesn't stop anywhere, doesn't even look at, some place, even pretend that he's looking at somebody whether killed or not. He doesn't do none of that. He just goes around, very busy, very worried, very involved. That kind of walk he does around the stage, and comes and immediately says, she's dead. It's confirmed. He's confirmed it. So he may have done. This is a kind of some kind of aberration to realism. Look at space-time, matter, etc. At least some indication should have been there to be true to the reality. That he should have paused, even glanced somewhere. He didn't do any of these things. And much of traditional theatre, this is universal. I mean, there is some details are not of interest. and there is a reclamation of a theatre reality at some level where such kind of realism is not taken into, not succumbed to, and there is some abstraction out somewhere. And my question which I'm going to ask today is, what is this reality which theatre deals with? There is a reality of which we know, space, time, matter, etc. And everything, including theatre, has to sort of be embedded in this reality. In what way is the theatre embedded in material reality, and in what way there is some reality to which theatre sort of investigates or is committed to? What is that? These are the type of questions. In fact, the big question, very big question is that how is it that when you imagine or when you sort of fantasize even, how does that kind of removal from reality bring you close to truth? In what sense does imagination and fantasy, which is a removal from reality, bring you close to truth, close to the real reality in some sense? This is a very mysterious kind of question, and but this is the answer or hint to handle this is what ontology or study of reality, theatrical reality, will deal with. What I'll do is, picking back from Chanda's show, picking back from there, I'll tell a story of NATYA from Gandhar region, and it really illustrates the nature of art. What really is the nature of art? Before we go down to theatrical art, take a step back. This is a story, very old time, ancient times. There was a kingdom across all around earth. There was a king whose name was Bhaiji, who has conquered all fears, no fear at all, totally Bhaiji. And there was one thing special about that kingdom: nobody ever died an untimely death. That was the utopia. Everybody sort of, whatever one's pursuits were, everybody had that time to pursue them, and nobody ever died untimely death. That was his kingdom. One day, it so happened that somebody, elder, came and complained that there must be something wrong in your kingdom, your policies, because my son, who was very young, able-bodied, lot of hopes, aspirations, everybody had with him, he died. So there must be something wrong with your kingdom, if that is happening. He didn't know what was wrong with him. What could he do? He straight away, he had no fear at all. He went to Yamraj. He said, there must have been some mistake on your part. Why did you sort of take away this young boy? And so either you tell me what's wrong with my policies and governance, or give me back that boy. So Yamraj said, well, that's not possible. I don't decide who should die. Somebody else decides. I just execute. Sorry, I can't tell you. I won't know. It's not in my, why did he die or what's wrong with the government. You go to Mahakal or somewhere to Shiva and ask, not me. He said, but you must take responsibility because you are executing it. You find out from wherever it is. And there was a war between Yamlok and Ihlok, which is, this fearless king had in the war, he was almost winning the war because what kind of resource did Yamraj have? He only had those nagnas, no? I mean, bone-like structures and very no flesh at all in Yamlok. And he was putting them, warring with this thing. Seeing this, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, etc., they got very troubled. Why? This will really. They came there. Brahma came, so there was ceasefire, and Bhaiji said, "Look, I'm not asking anything unreasonable, and it's just this. Either give back. I can't tolerate my praja, somebody making a complaint on me, and I don't know how to handle it. So you have to help me. Please solve this issue." And Yamraj said that, please tell him that world doesn't go this way. People have to die, and why they die, sort of is some other kind of investigation, and I have nothing to do with it. So he's unreasonable, or that man is unreasonable. Brahma suggested a way out of this dispute. He said, well, this boy can be given back on one condition. The condition is that he can't be given back in the same body. In some other body, he can be given back, and which material body, which would be like a canvas, paints, etc. And I'll tell you methods by which, very lively, almost living spirit of that thing was born. And so, just let's look at it, back to it. And so, there are two worlds. There is a world in which there are people with motor organs. There is a world in which there are people without motor organs. The world where there are no motor organs, this world is usually called Parlok. These are like people, gods, demons, etc. All people who die. And we all have an image in Parlok. The deeds we do clustered together in Parlok. When we die, people sort of pick us up from the Parlok and commemorate or sort of remember us, etc. So all the people who died in the past, they cluster together, they disperse, whatever way some procedures happen there in Parlok, by which recollection is there. And Parlok is like Naglok, where all the denuded beings live. And Ihlok is where people with motor organs live. And then there is certain imagination which pulls from memory, few traits, elements, etc. from memory. And these are sort of visualized in some way, and then they are embodied back, re-embodied into a work of art. So any work of art, by its nature, is kind of re-embodiment of imagination. Imagination has for its fodder whatever impressions we have, we call in our memory, or judgments we make on those impressions, and which themselves are whatever cognitive or experiential states we go through. They create an impression on our memory, and so there is a cycle which goes on. This is a cycle of production of art, etc. And this is also quite familiar in the first chapter of Natyashastra, where Brahma gives a task of producing first the first natak to gods. Gods are unable to produce it because they have no motor organs. They want some people to lend their motor organs, which are like actors, humans, which are handed nuts. Natas were given to, not nuts, were gifted to Bharat Muni so that they can enact. So there are some people who could lend their body to those people in Parlok. In fact, there's a very good metaphor Rushdie uses for these people in Parlok. A silver screen is the one which is our working memory, or which is like at the tip of our memory, people. And behind the silver screen, there are many more waiting to be born, waiting to be recalled. Many characters are there behind that, waiting to be recalled. And so this one is the one, a conquest over this world. Bhaijit is the one who conquered over this world of memory. Is a precondition for a good imagination. It's a precondition for good imagination. After he could do this, only through this conquest he could make a portrait of that boy, which had longevity, which could live for many years, many generations, that portrait. And then Brahma said, after you learned this, after you had a conquest over your memories, you would be called Nagnajit. You're no longer just Bhaijit, who's like fearless, but you have conquered over all the Nagnas, all the ethereal things of the world, all kind of ethereal reality which exist. That's conquest over that is a precondition so that you can give a new body to it. This body, embodiment is a re-embodiment is a necessary condition for art, any art. So this is for some actually in Hindi, but it means that whatever we experience, there is a procedure which happens in our heads, which is to denude the experience, which and you go to the realm of denuded realm, which is realm of memory, Yamlok or Parlok, etc., which you call as memory or smriti, more largely in memory. And then out of this memory, there is independent sort of choices, etc., are made, and they are sort of one cut, paste them, or does whatever with them, which we call as kalpana and imagination. And this imagination, if fortunately acquires a body, then it's art. It may not acquire a new body. So people keep looking for skills so that they can give their imaginations a new body which others can look up, look forward to. In a way, there's a procedure which is involved here. In a way, one can say art is removal of spirit from body. You remove the spirits from the body, any material body, which is like all of us. It could be something like a nation, it could be anything. Just remove the spirit from that body, which is denuding the reality, and then you sort of mull over the spirit, keep twisting, turning, unfolding, unfurling, whatever with it, and that's imagination. And then you re-embody, give a new body, appropriate body to that. This is what the process of art is. And there are certain procedures which are happening here in this thing. There is procedures of memory, there are procedures of denuding and re-embodying, which are cognitive procedures or mental procedures and motor procedures, motor activity procedures, etc. So those are built thing, But important is that it is a nature of re-embodiment which creates diverse arts, different disciplines of art. If they are different in terms of what new body they offer. So if painting is different from sculpting, is different from theatre, is different from music, is because the material body which has been used is different for embodying the imagination there. So we can work that out. What it can be worked fairly exactly, which kind of sort of bodies are around. People have experimented, they are around, how they can blend or not blend, etc. And one accurate, exact reasoning can be done with them. We'll do a portion of that. Before that, there is one sort of notice very popular in Indian tradition, also in the West, philosophical thought. This is the idea of a inert privacy, which is that whatever undergoings are there in our head, there is a privileged witness of that. And this privileged witness is we ourselves. Nobody can look into our head the way we can look into our head. Nobody can look into our experience the way we can look into our experience. So there is a very privileged witness of the spectacle which is going on in our mind. And even Leibniz would call it a windowless monad. I mean, there is no leakage in it. It's totally closed. Or many ideas of self, etc. would also go in that direction, and some won't. So there is solitariness and uniqueness of the witness. If you keep this as this notice in mind, things can develop further. That the spectacle of our own mind has a enclosure in it, because I can witness my mind if I'm in good health, I'm not sleeping, etc. I can witness my own head, but I can't witness the same way others, what's going on in others' head. So there is spectacle of mind is somewhat enclosed. And how do I disclose this spectacle? That urge, whatever is enclosed in me, and which comes out of privileged position of witnessing, which is there in it. However they may happen. It may happen without self, it may be with self, many ontological positions are there on that. And how do I disclose this to others? And it is this disclosure which requires re-embodying. You have to create a new body to be able to disclose. You actually have to create something called dummy enclosure in the world. You create a painting, so there is a canvas and pigments. With canvas and pigments, you create a dummy enclosure which doesn't have a kind of continuity with the surrounding. Its surrounding is a wall, and in this enclosure is some imagination which is entrapped, which a witness, anybody comes, this material formation creates, rubs on your memory, rubs on the memory of a spectator, and creates that imagination. It's that if I'm watching a work of art, if I'm watching a movie, the entire movie is being worked in my head. It was rubbing on some material formations, the pixels, etc., some sound bites, they're rubbing on my head. Out of that, I'm creating massive thing. If you do PET scan, etc., massive activity going on in the head when you are doing entertainment or like things, and very heavy activity going on. there is essential materiality in all artworks because of this. The necessary materiality comes. And this materiality comes because there is a phenomena of a dummy enclosure. Why I'm calling dummy is because not everything can entrap a spectacular thing which waits for some spectator to come and opens it up. Not every material formation can create a, can entrap or can close and coat a spectacle. Few things can. Now there are laws, there's something very rigorous reasoning can go in that level. What can, what cannot. And in what formations, I mean, this man has been engaging and working it out, which enclosures can disclose things. If the Chanda's show is going on, there are certain enclosures there created, in which there is a drama getting disclosed, and which spectators are interested in. Not every formation can create that. And one another third point, before we sort of go towards some closure in this lecture, there is one very sort of long-standing issue in Indian philosophy, 2000-year-old, which is that people have looked into pratyaksh, perception, very closely. In the AIX, for instance, very, very closely they've looked into these issues, what perceptions are. But there was an issue which Dignan raises or Vasarvagya have raised, is that Bahyendriya pratyaksh is, okay, you analyze fine, very nice. For 2000 years of very detailed analysis, points, counterpoints, this, that have been done. And there are issues still open in there of external sense organs. What about Antendriya pratyaksh? The Praman in Bahyendriya pratyaksh has been extensively analyzed. What about Praman in Antendriya pratyaksh? What is right? What is appropriate? What is apt? Which in your imagination is the issue. How do I decide aptness in the imagination? If that finds enclosure somewhere, and then it becomes the spectacle which was my private now becomes public. Others can see it. So this is a question of truth. It's a question of in imagination, what really gravitates, what really decides, you know, a privilege called truthfulness. Like Charandas Chor always speaks truth. We are raising issue at a meta level now, in a drama. What really constitutes truthfulness there? I mean, everybody says beauty, it's a loose term used, beauty. I mean, it looks good, it looks pleasing to your heart, to spectators. I mean, that is the end of it. And many people thought Ras Nishpatti is all that is there in that. But there was this Shemendra, for instance, he brought in the Auchitya Vichar. What is aptness? What constitutes aptness in imagination? This is issue of Antendriya Pratyaksha Praman. Habib Tanvir said, this is an interview given to, which I read recently, and to Sangeeta in that interview. He said that actor, you know, the relation between Vachik and Angik, the activities you do, the manners which you express, and what you say, is apt only if you do it in your tongue in which you are grown up. If you do it in tongue which is different from that, you can't. This relation will be broken. This is truth criteria. This is giving a truth criteria. And why he tried to, when he got his Chhattisgarh actors who did Natya, and he wanted to put them in the kind of stage which is European stage, etc. So he asked them to do it in Hindi. But then the production won't happen. I mean, there will all kind of broken, the actions of will be inhibited. The actions of actor will be inhibited. So he eventually asked them to go, no, do it in Chhattisgarh. Because the intonations, the curvatures of sounds, the sensibilities, and they go well with the body rhythms, the body gestures, the manners. Like words have their own manners. And so like he said that top is tapua or something, bottom is batua, or it's better to say it like that, then you can act it out. If you say top and bottom, it's very difficult for Chhattisgarhi person to act it out. And so like as if this aptness is a kind of criteria which is proposing. It can be amended, fined, refined, etc. All those are there. So the third issue which I am raising is that of truth. In Antendriya, Pratyaksha, Praman, Shastra. That is an issue raised in Dignang raised it because for him everything was Kalpana. Everything is Kalpana, so everything becomes like, has to be justified in terms of Antendriya, Pratyaksh. And behind the Pratyaksh is anyway sort of not open to investigation because it's default. That's default. And so it's raised by Kashmiri, Basavagya, etc. There are many people. In fact, when Basavagya raised it, he found a fault with Gautam, who wrote Nyaya Sutra. He said one place he's saying that Indriyas are these five Indriyas are there, and at some place he enumerates them in Sutra, and at other place he says there is Antendriya also, one is also there. So there is a big confusion which has come because of that in terms of Shabd Praman. Shabd Praman is understood as a Bahindriya Pratyaksh sometimes. When I hear somebody's voice, how do I understand the meanings? When the sounds fall in my ear, that is one way of investigating. Another way of investigating is aptness of the word. Words you evaluate in terms of aptness. That is, so these two become totally different questions. One question is what I hear, and hearing could be some mechanism of, and I construct some meaning. Another is when I mull over aptness of meanings. So this discourse is slightly offset in the Indian tradition. Not that people are not aware of it. It's been for centuries, people have been aware of the issues in that, and these awareness have added in their reflections, etc. But it's an outstanding issue in Indian philosophy today. So if we take these three things together, how much time can I take more?
10 minutes.
10 minutes, okay, then what I'll do is, I'll just create an impression now that one can do very exact reasonings about various art forms, types. So I made a claim that there are various art forms can distinguish in terms of type of material enclosures on which affordance of disclosure of imagination is there. That you can disclose imagination, like in painting, in sculptures, they're all different. And there are certain features about the time, space, and other formal features about them. There are two types of such material things. One is synchronic. Synchronic means all parts of the thing are available in one movement. Diachronic are the different movements have different parts. There is no movement where all parts are available. Very formally one can work this out. And so music, dance, drama go in diachronic things, painting, sculptures, architecture, etc. And they have some other features, very formal features, which one can look at, and it becomes a very interesting panorama. Any piece of art, especially installations, if you see, you can pass them out. The best is when you pass a drama. In drama, all these things are involved. All these things are implicated in some sense. One can do fairly exact reasoning about it. Somebody asks about, say, for exact humanities, this is what we do. These kind of things. And one can, one issue is to create a good drama, another is to analyze a good drama, which a good dramatist does, analyze dramas all around the world. And like Habib Tanvir did analyze the European dramas, Brecht and other people, and the Greek drama. So there are many features which it has, where one can look at what really is the material mechanisms to create disclosures. For instance, the painting, which is easiest to understand, you put pigment strokes. They are only finite. Every painting has just finite number of pigment strokes. Like every film has finite numbers of camera flows in it, and these are material kind of things. Is through these finite strokes we are able to create something of a cardinality of imagination. Imagination, cardinality, I mean number of things which are there in a body. So in imagination, we are able to create with finite strokes certain cardinality of imagination, which when the spectator comes, that person sees that cardinality. So let me try closing it, wrapping it up. One way to wrap it up, to summarize what I said, is focus maybe on the reality which is called drama. In drama, enclosure is a stage. For instance, enclosure of music is sound. Sound, physical sound. You temper with physical sounds to create music. In drama, the stage is full blown, which is there. Stage can be created anywhere, any piece of land, any piece of one can create the stage. There are certain laws by which that happens, and sometimes one can also say that, which you can see relation between them. Painting has an exterior which is synchronic. It has an interior which is diachronic. Music has an exterior which is diachronic, but interior which is synchronic. It's the same as sculpture has an exterior which is synchronic, but interiors are diachronic. The moment you see a frozen statue, say even Gandhi, inside Gandhi is very live inside that. And in dance also, you can see this, that exterior is a time, but interiors are stasis of some kind, style bhavs, etc., or some other bhavs are there. And similarly, architecture has relation to drama. This slash film is because film is a different kind of enclosure, but architecture is synchronic and has interiors and diachronic. Architecture is a breathing cube, and there are many points here which will hint to us what drama is. In painting, you can't go around a painting. It's very serious notice. You can go around a sculpture. Sculpture has a disclosure which is which is expansive, which is going out of surface. You never sculpt interiors of metal. You only sculpt surface of metal. Even even mass sculpting, you only sculpt exteriors. And it's exvoluting folding. A painting is involuted folding of imagination. Sculpture is exvolutive folding of imagination. It radiates out. You can go around sculpture, but if you look at painting, any spectator looks at sculptures, then one has to spend one's own time. It so happens that in architecture, you are enclosed in others' time. You can sleep. You can give up your time. You can surrender your time in architectural situation, because at home we sleep. But all the rest of times are available to us on the walls. In the company of others, and it's their grace that they let you sleep. All those people who are there. I mean, this is a parlokic structure. So you have to give up your time. Similarly, now, if you look at space-time in music, dance, and drama, one can see, and in films it's very interesting, the space-time, the way it works out. And you can see similar relation there. So, like looking at many of how the blending of space-time, compressions, jumps across them, etc. are possible, and one can really look at formations of various art forms. The formation which we see in Charandas Chor, it is his Telugu version, is, I find it very excellent. There is no excessive movement in it. There is no wasted movement in it. I don't know Telugu, but I mean, you can get that impression even personally watching it. There are no wasted movement. There are dull movements in that, and it's compact, it's expansive. Improvisation is possible, and improvisation is possible only because there is openity of a relation between manners people have, language people have. In that, there is a very, very fluid relation in that. So your bodies are very supple. They're not sort of frozen in some sense. And this changing of characters by the same actor, often in these traditions, is a very interesting characteristic. That being true to a character is something, is a modern kind of urge. That you be true to, like for instance, Habib Tanvir says that there was this, I forget the name of that playwright in Europe, Solowski or something. He would say, any actor, write the biography. He will give assignment. Huh? Okay, he will give assignment, write biography, and then he will correct that, and something like that. You must be true to the character, kind of thing. And then know that I have a knowledge of all possible characters. Actor is that who becomes invisible when playing a character. Actor must become invisible. It's not possible in the sense Shah Rukh Khan shows himself out. Makes sure that when he acts, he shows his personality out. He makes sure, he sort of insists on that. So, but actor is that who should ideally disappear. So, and who must know characters, like he's insisting that actors must know the characters. But this being able to switch all the time, Indian theatre is a theatre of shifting intentionalities. It's a theatre where the intentionalities which are seen by the audience are continuously shifting. but they don't shift in a disordered manner, or they are in a plot, they are in various structures. But this is very typical of the theatre we're talking about, which say NATYA represents, or which many other folk theatres have. And they are, Habib Tanvir said, these theatres are the Shastriya Margi theatres. There is nothing called, apart from them, anything called Shastriya theatre. These are the ones which are there, because they embody all these things. And the claim of how a drama is a drama of shifting intentionalities, reflected on through varieties of aptness which go into it, the concerns of aptness which go into it. And that creates a very fluid, very plastic, very improvisable theatre. A theatre which can go on for 6 hours, 8 hours. Not that it's a repeat, it can be done in 1 hour. But the actors are enjoying it, they just go on for 8 hours. This is not much there, not so easily there. I mean, it can contrive in West, can be experimented with, but this doesn't come naturally there. This theatre and its formations are here, and these are some kind of reflections which allow us to appreciate those formations and even to experiment in the new theatre in future. So that's it.
Seeking clarification, really, since you mentioned Dignath. I was thinking of, Buddhist ontology. That's the tradition he comes from, right? And you sort of very quickly moved from talking about Dignath and others raising the question of Anteyendriya Pramar, or Chitya, and then saying that this aptness can come only in one's own mother tongue. Now, who says the second part? It's not Dignath. And I'm wondering if that raises a fundamental question about Buddhist ontology. I'm thinking of the Buddhists thinking about language, which is very non-essentialist, if you will. Whereas this is a very different.
Because there's a lot of scope of misunderstanding here. Buddhists, in the beginning, invented a language. The first invented language is Pali. Pali is only a language devoted to, just a language devoted to one teaching. It is contrived language, contrived for one school of thought. It so happens that this school of thoughts became hundreds. 100 denominations came out later on. But it is a language which is a designer's language. People sat on the table and designed it. And people practiced it. It's like if Hebrew is revived in Israel. This is a designer Hebrew. Maybe excess. I shouldn't have said this. But that is one aspect of it. The other thing.
That doesn't contradict the point that was made.
Yeah, that's right. It's just for this other thing is about there is like one advantage which I took today is that being not being in any situation of intimacy with Habib Tanvir ever. I don't have any memory of it. Because never. I have not seen his players. I have not seen him. But this distance which I have from him is the advantage which I have. In some sense, this distance or this feeble relation and this remoteness from the subject gives me certain advantage of some advantage which Habib Tanvir would like. Because I am just picking few things from him, and this is a normal process. This discourse of distance and nearness is all the time there. But Habib Tanvir is talking in a context of kind of theatre being practiced in India and in Europe. And he actually tried to do experiment with the Chhattisgarh Natya theatre. He got the actors. It's a result of this experiment, and he couldn't make them do a theatre in Hindi. This failure is now being translated into a truth claim. And truth claim is that if they do it if they enact in Chhattisgarhi, then they can do it, and which became a success. I mean, got him some awards, etc. So it's just that I'm saying that truth claims are possible like this, and issues of Dignang are serious issues. They can be independently worked on. Those are like long-standing issues.
Yeah, because you just standardizingly mentioned it. Left it there.
Yeah, because they go into heart of what is aptness, Arthkriya, Karitva, etc., which he brings in. How do I decide? There are two things. In imagination, Dignang showed that in imagination we can do two definitive things. One definitive thing is inference. Imagination is all false. But you can do a definitive inference in imagination, which you call Anuman Brahman. And other thing you can do is through imagination you can enact things. And enactment looks like pragmatic. There is certain justification which comes out. So there are ideas which we find in them, which you will find in Shemendra in 11th century, etc. Also talking in the context of poetics, when he criticizing Abhinav Gupta, etc. So these are very big discourse, and there are several points here which can be independently handled. But these are the issues of truth, issues of sort of means of or certainties involved in the method. These are the issues which have been sort of there, but not with much success in Indian tradition.
Anybody else?
How far is it necessary? Raj is my name. How far is it necessary to conflate the issues of aptness and truth? How far is it necessary? Because it seems to me that, like Habib Tanvir's thing, which was picked up.
Hold it closer.
It was so completely naive what he has said.
Totally naive. It was naive also because he just went by what the ideology of the time was, not even his own experience, Whereas Habib Tanvir was in every way a mongrel artist,
What artist?
a mongrel artist,
Okay.
He was, that means he didn't belong anywhere,
Right.
he did not belong to he's like all of us.
Yeah.
When I say mongrel, it's not, he's hybrid, like I am, or you are. You performed just now in a language which is not yours.
Yeah.
I think Habib Tanvir failed to recognize that very often, But that is not important, What is important is, I think, indeed the question that you were asking, and to go further with that, how far should we bother about aptness and the conflation of truth and aptness? I don't think we should bother. It's a mistaken question, I think. Thank you.
See, there is one thing we should consider: the kind of theatre he could produce with that. He couldn't get modern students to produce that theatre. This failure,
Yes.
and then after he left, the people who produced this theatre had no takers,
Had no takers.
abject poverty.
Oh.
They couldn't go back to their places.
Yeah.
It's a tragic thing. This is tragic about
It's
modern
happened
times.
to all of them.
Modern times, that ideally, I mean, it looks like a seamless setup. Proved it somewhere, but can this be done with a NSD or some other modern kind of set of people who do apprenticeship with him? That he tried, that never happened. So there is certain truth about the tradition of manners. That the manners which you have of body as a language, there can be certain languages where fluidity of manners.
You know, some of the greatest theatre in the world, like perhaps you would acknowledge that Shakespeare was one of the, I mean, the practice of Shakespearean theatre has kept the bloody British Empire alive, you know.
Yeah.
So at least that much and the success of that is tremendous, overwhelming, you know. Everything is inauthentic in Shakespeare. I've just been reading Othello,
Yeah.
you know. Everything is inauthentic. It is completely created by the imagination, and the acting usually of Othello is in the manneristic way. That means the Angeka is totally manneristic.
Yes, it is.
It is brought from
Yeah.
elsewhere. Mannerism developed
Right.
on
In
the
fact, me and
continent.
Sunil saw a play which is gibberish.
Yeah.
Shakespearean play.
Yeah.
Entirely gibberish.
Yes.
And all just manners.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Those are experiments.
Yeah.
Those are experiments.
No, but those are experiments. But Shakespeare wasn't an experiment. It was the colonization of the entire
Yeah,
world
yeah.
through him that took place. So I was just wondering about that.
Yeah, I mean, these are deep things.
Yeah.
And they're not to be answered. I mean, there's to be sort of expressed in this or that way. That's right. It's that.
आपने जब भास का एक नाटक है तो उसमें बहुत देर तक 3 लोग आते हैं और वो वर्णन करते रहते हैं युद्ध का और अग्नि का और एक वहाँ बहुत सुंदर वो आता है कि ये जो अग्निदेव हैं ये बहुत सारी चीज़ों को खा के और नदी में उतर रहे हैं जैसे आचमन कर रहे हो। फिर दूसरा कुछ कहता है, फिर तीसरा, फिर पहला, मतलब नाटक 60% नाटक ऐसे ही गुजरता चला जा रहा है कि 3 लोग हैं, बात कर रहे हैं, डिस्क्रिप्शन होता है और फिर अचानक से टूटी हुई जंघा वाले दुर्योधन का प्रवेश होता है। तो ये जो आपने प्रश्न उठाया कि नाटक कहाँ घटित हो रहा है, इसको भास ने बहुत सुंदर, उसकी जो रियलिटी है इसको बहुत ब्यूटीफुली
परलोक में है नाटक, और पर उसके जो डिटर्मिनेंट्स हैं ये लोग में एक्टर्स, मटेरियल्स, लाइट्स, ये सब चीजें हैं उसमें।
क्योंकि पनिक्कर जी ने भी ये नाटक किया और रतन जी ने भी ये नाटक किया, तो मैंने उनसे पूछा कि ये जो शुरू का जो 60 मतलब बहुत सारा जो हिस्सा है वो थोड़ी देर तक होता है और फिर वो अचानक से वो उनका नाटक वहीं से शुरू होता है जहाँ से दुर्योधन का प्रवेश होता है। तो यही वो कहते हैं कि इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू हैंडल दिस पार्ट।
एक पार्ट्स में तो जैसे मालविका अग्निमित्र नहीं विक्रमोर्वशी, उसमें एक पूरा अंक है जिसमें पुरुरवा विलाप कर रहा है, उसमें तो दूसरा चरित्र भी नहीं और वो विलापा कर रहा है, मतलब तो ये बहुत कठिन माना जाता है। तो हम लोगों ने एक प्रयोग किया था कालिदास अकादमी में जब कमलेश दत्त त्रिपाठी वहाँ थे कि हमने रतन थियम से भी कहा और उनसे पनिक्कर जी से केवलम पनिक्कर से भी कहा और प्रेमलता शर्मा जो वैसे तो संगीत की विदुषी थी पर उन्होंने नाट्यशास्त्र पर काम किया, उनसे भी कहा और इन तीनों से कहा कि आप यही अंक करिए। तो तीनों ने जिस तरह से उसको किया वो बहुत ही मतलब विलक्षण था। विलाप है और विलाप है, वो उर्वशी को लेकर विलाप है, लेकिन उसको तीनों ने जिस तरह से किया, उससे वो 3 तरह के विलाप, एक ही चरित्र के 3 तरह के विलाप, जो आप कह रहे थे शिफ्टिंग इंटेंशनैलिटी, वो तीनों में there was this evidence, live evidence of shifting intentionality, where each character became the other which is being remembered. So in a sense, like they do in classical dance, where a male person can become Radha, or a male person can become some other woman character, same person. In the similar way, the actor, the single actor, became many other characters while doing that villa. Now, one of the things that I wanted to ask you is that the created reality of theatre can be different not only from one director to the other, from one actor to the other, it can only be different from one interpretation to the other. Then where is there a core reality which remains inviolate or in place, which cannot be transgressed, or there is complete freedom for you to create what reality you want, and there is no such thing? I'll give you the example. Kumar Gandharv used to say that the rag has no inherent meaning. Meaning is invested in it by the performer. So the same rag can have different meanings for different people. And he said Darbari. Darbari is a late night rag and you have to think of very solemn. He said, no, I have a bandish, and he used to sing it, Sirfat Hare Gang, which with a tilting, dancing tune. So Darbari, which is supposed to be as if you are in very awesome, solemn, regal presence, would put it off on the street. So, where is the core? Is like in music, if in a rag there is no intrinsic, inviolable, is there an inviolable privacy of reality in theatre?
So it's been absolutely tough thing for centuries to bear this question. Is that in our external sense organs, the objects seems to overdetermine truth about it. Whatever we get, because the objects which are positive objects of external sensations, they seem to have an overwhelming claim on the true portion of what you perceive. You don't have such inviolable objects inside for Tandri Pratyaksh. So that makes the task of meditating or reflecting on what constitutes truth almost like impossible, because we are in the habit of seeing object determination of truth. But here, this situation, there is none. So in that, people try to create certain gravitational metaphorically, some kind of coherences, some kind of ideas where one could see a pull of truth. For instance, when I create a music, if we see that music fundamentally is a timbre, it's a timbre. Music has no notes. It's one secret about music. It has nothing to do with notes. This Kumar Gandharv will also say it has very little to do with notes. Every object has sounding in it, nada, whatever. There are billions of objects in the world, material objects, they have some sounding. When they go potential sounding, when they sort of hit with each other, they create some sounds. Now, this object, if it hits with every other object, we talk about solids and solid-like things, there's a gamut of sounds this will produce. So there are people who try to think that in Indian tradition, that it is the gamut of sounds which potentially an object produces with all the rest is fundamental to music. So if I am singing something in winter, just the gamut of objects which are on me are different. If I am doing it in summer, it's different. If I am doing it in morning, the gamut of objects are different. It's like all colors too. Sounds are also like that. And in the evening they're different. In the night they're different. It is this gamut of sounds which permits musicality, of any understanding of what goes together. And the notes succumb to that. Notes keep shifting accordingly. For the same Darbari, there are no point notes. They react to each other, etc. And all kind of formations happen. Maybe the musical ingenuity is to explore that coherence or recurrence, etc. in that situation. So people try to reason it up. This is enterprise of truth, this reasoning. So it goes like that. So a musician just finds Darbari can be very joyously sung in certain situation, and he actually does it. This is there is nothing untruth about it. It's just that he's found truth, and some reasoning has to go. So it is like that. There's no opposition, I would say, between the two. I'll go for the truth-likeness of art.
The truthlessness.
Truth-likeness of art.
So it is a likeness. And will you then call it dissimulation? Would you call it dissimulation or would you call it simulation?
It is simulation which succumbs to certain laws, gravities, to something outside itself. A simulation which is
It
like
succumbs.
depends, succumbs.
Okay. Does not serve it.
It finds itself totally falsified at times.
Right. Well, friends, with that we come to the end of this second Habib Tanvir Memorial Lecture. Thank you very much, Professor NAVJYOTI Singh, and thank you all of you for having come this evening. So, thank you.